Hi guys, so today I'm back with a tutorial from the Lyra starter game, and this is about the game phase subsystem that is present in the Lyra starter game. Now, let me first tell you what the game phase subsystem is. So the game phase subsystem that is present in the Lyra starter game is a subsystem that is a utility to divide your game logic into multiple phases. So when we say phases, it could be like a start game phase that could be the warm up phase that's how it is in Lyra. And then it could be a mid game phase that is the actual gameplay, and then there could be the end game phase in which you like clean up stuff and uninitialize things and so on and so forth. So to modularly split your game into multiple phases, this is a really good really good system to that you can move into your projects and use it. So today I'll show you how you can extract the system from the Lyra starter game and then move it to your own project and how to get it working, fix all the compile issues and so on and so forth. So let's just see how it's being worked in Lyra. So I'll take the example of the top-down arena shooter game in the Lyra starter game, and in the begin play of the top-down arena component, you'll see that in this after the sequence there's this wait experience ready and then the start phase from the Lyra game phase subsystem. And if you open up this phase warm up, that is the phase ability that is being used in the start game. You can see in this one, it's just like a gameplay ability. So if you're not familiar with the gameplay ability system, it's a system in Unreal Engine to play networked abilities. So the Lyra phase subsystem on the underneath uses the gameplay ability system. So it has this activate ability function and ability function. The activate ability, what it does is what happens. Is when the game phase starts, it calls the activate ability. So when we enter the phase warm up, it will activate the ability. It will apply a gameplay effect to all the players. So this is also a Lyra subsystem, but what it basically does is apply an effect to all the players in the game. So it applies this warm up effect to all the players. Then it has a delay for like 3 seconds, and then it removes that warm up effect and goes to the next phase, which is the playing phase. And if I go to this warm up phase or the warm up gameplay effect, it only applies this new tag called damage immunity to all the players, just so that during the warm up they don't go on and kill each other. So if then I go to the phase playing, it does nothing, just prints some string, because the playing logic is actually in the game component, not in the phases. And then we have the post game phase, which is called when the playing phase ends. It's also defined in the game component base. If you search for start phase, there's the second start phase, which happens when on event tick, it checks that if the round time remaining is 0, then it decides that, oh, we have stopped playing now. Now we should go to the post game phase, and the post game phase only what it only does is just wait for some time and then starts the next game. So it's a simple system, but good for modular gameplay if you want it in your game. So and it's also really easy to migrate it into your own game. So I'll show you exactly how you can do that. So just to save time, I have created a third-person project in Unreal Engine 5.6. I think the procedure would be similar in 5.5 or even the previous versions as well, but just for the simplicity's sake, I'm using the latest version. And I have created a C++ project because it is necessary for creating your gameplay ability system and copying over the Lyra classes of the game phase system into your code. So let's start with the initial setup. So the first thing that you need to do in your project is go to the build.cs file. And in the public dependency module names, you need to add these three: the gameplay abilities, the gameplay tasks, and the gameplay tags. I've already edited and restarted the editor, restarted the IDE after generating the Visual Studio project files again to save time. But if you have edited, then you need to like close the IDE, regenerate project files, and then reopen it. So since I have already done that, I will go on with creating the new classes. So first thing that I need is the ability system component, my own one. So what I'll do is I'll add a new Unreal class, and I'll search for ability system component. I'll make it public, and I'll call it my ability system component, and I'll put it in the ability system folder just to make it clean. Now, as soon as I do that, I'll have two folders, public and private, and both will have this ability system. The public one will be the header file, and the private one will be the CPP file. Now, I also need to add a subclass of the game state, because to run the phases, you need the ability system component on either the game state or the game instance or something like that. I think the game state is the best place for that, because the game state is replicated to all the clients, and it's just like one, not like it different for each player, just like the player state. A player state is like each player has its own player state, but the game state is just like one for one game. But it's replicated to everyone, so that's good. So I'll search for game state, and I'll take this base one, the game state base. Go to public. I don't need it in the ability system folder, and I'll call it my game state. When you have the game state, you need to go to the, or you need to do some more includes. That is the ability system interface, ability system interface. It will automatically include the header if you're using Rider, but if you're using Visual Studio, you need to manually do that. Now I will add a private property. I'll make it blueprint read-only, and meta would be allow private access, just so that I can directly use it in the blueprints. And then I need to override one of the functions of the ability system interface, that is the get ability system component. And then I'll create a function and just return I'm sorry, I have not created the property yet. And the property would be my ability system component. It's the new component that I created. It would be a T object pointer, and I'll call it my ability system component, or I can just call it ability system component. And here it's complaining that it doesn't know what my ability system component is, so I'll just do a forward declaration. And then I will also need to initialize this ability system component. So there's two steps to initializing. One is the constructor. So I'll create a constructor with the const f object initializer. And then I also need the pre or the post initialize components function. In the constructor, I need to initialize or construct the ability system component. So I'll get ability system component, set it to object initializer dot create default subobject. Type would be my ability system component, and then the object can be this, and I can write a name, my ability system. I also need to set it to replicated, because most probably you're making a multiplayer game. I need to include first the header, ability system / my. I'm not sure why I cannot get it. It says it's not present. I'll try it again. If you're using Rider, there is a simpler way to include your classes. Is just do an isValid check on the class, and then if you press Alt Enter, it will tell you exactly where the definition is. For some reason, I have to write public here just to access that, or although normally it shouldn't happen. It should the public folder should already be in the include paths, but I'll not dive into that right now. So I will include the ability system component. I will remove this is valid now. I'll do the ability system component dot set is replicated, and I'll set it to true. And then I also need to set the replication mode. Set replication mode. and it would be E gameplay effect replication mode mixed. Now we have constructed the ability system component object. Now we also need to initialize it, and we initialize it in this post initialize components. After the super, I will do ability system component dot init ability actor info, and the owner actor would be this, and the avatar actor would also be this, because this ability system component lies in the game state, so we make the game state the owner as well as the avatar actor. Oh, I don't need to delete that. I need to return ability system component here. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce ability system component super fast. All right, so we have our ability system component in the game state now. We have the ability system component class. We'll come back to this class later when we need to add some functions. But now we need to go to the Lyra starter game and copy over some things from there. So I will go to the Lyra starter game, and in the content explorer or the solution explorer, you can see under the Lyra game module, under ability system, there is this phases folder, and we need this entire folder. So I'll just copy this entire folder, go to our project, and paste it right under ability system. Okay, we have it now. Just for some cleanup, I will move the private files to the private folder and the public files to the public folder. So right now everything is in the private, but I'll move this phase ability.h, phase log.h, and the phase subsystem.h, and move it to the public slash, I'll create a new folder here first called phases, and then I'll move these three to the public phases folder. Now here it will complain that it cannot find this header file again, so we'll need to include it manually. Public slash ability system slash phases slash Lyra game phase ability, and also for the subsystem the same. Now it can find both the classes, and also with the Lyra game phase subsystem I need to do that. Instead of this, it will be, I don't need the phases twice. And then same for, oh, the ability system component is like in the public slash ability system component slash my ability system component. And then for the abilities, it would be the phases folder, and for the logs as well, it would be the phases folder. You don't need the logs, but I'll still just keep it here. Now, there are some errors, and it's just like that we need to replace it with our own ability system classes. So first we go here, it's the Lyra ability system component. I will replace it with my ability system component. Copy paste. Copy paste. Copy paste. And then I will leave it as it is for now. Now the next thing that we need to do is go to the Lyra Game Phase ability, go to the header file, and it cannot find this Lyra gameplay ability. So we just simply replace it with a default Unreal gameplay ability class. So just gameplay ability, and then we can remove this unnecessary header. And now you can see that all the errors in the Lyra game visibilities are fixed, and also in the phase subsystem, most of the errors are fixed, but just one error is remaining. So you can see this comes from the game state ASC, which was the Lyra ability system component, but we replaced it with our ability system component. So it's missing some function that we need to find. And also if you see, there is one more thing. It uses the Lyra gameplay ability. We don't need that. I'll just remove it from the forward declaration so we can see all the places it's being used. I think it's also declared here, so I'll remove it from here as well. And now we'll probably see the errors. Oh, I still cannot see the error, so I'll just do a search and replace Lyra gameplay ability. It should be the gameplay ability. Yeah. And I'll also do a search here. There's no references here, so I think we are good. Now we just need this function from Lyra. So for that, I'll go back to the Lyra starter game. I'll find the Lyra ability system component.h, and here you can see that we have this function called cancel abilities by func, which is the same as this one. So I will just copy these two lines from here, go to our ability system component, go to the header file. Under the public section, I can just paste these two and then just replace this Lyra gameplay ability with just U gameplay ability. And then this cancel abilities by function, I will have to generate a definition. So I have the definition now. I just need to copy the definition from the Lyra. I'll copy everything from here. Control C, Control V. Lyra gameplay ability will be replaced by U gameplay ability everywhere. And then log Lyra ability system can be replaced by just log temp. Now I think we are good, and if we try to compile, it should work, hopefully. I'll close the project just so that we can compile it in the IDE. Alright, just for sanity's sake, I will do a generate Visual Studio project files here, just to make sure everything is correct. Then I'll open the project again. And the build succeeded, that's a good sign. We can start the project now. It says the game module YouTube Game Phase demo cannot be loaded because some plugin which has been included into the build has not been turned on. And I think the reason for that is we added the gameplay ability system in the modules, but we did not add it into the U project file. So we'll go to the U project file, just under the plugin section, just copy one of these with a comma, and then indent it correctly, and then replace it with gameplay abilities. Now if we try to start it again, it should not give that error. Alright, so we have our project, and in the content folder I will first create a new folder just so we keep things organized. I'll call it phases. And the first thing that we need just for the phases to work is to replace our game state class. So we will need a new blueprint game state class, and I will search for the my game state. I'll call it BP my game state. Save it, and then in the world settings, I need to go to the selected game mode and then replace the game state class with BP my game state. I made a typo, so I'll fix that quickly. And then I'll open up my game state. And you can see that by default we have the ability system component here because we initialized it in the, or added it in the C++. So I can simply get ability system component and do things to that. And also now, since we have the Lyra's Game Phase Subsystem code, you can do right-click Lyra Game Phase, and you can find the Lyra Game Phase Subsystem as well. But the Game Phase Subsystem needs some abilities, or some phases, you can say. So I will create some new phase abilities in the phases folder. I'll go there, new blueprint class, and I will search for game phase ability. So make sure to create a game phase ability and not a normal ability, because the normal ability will get activated still, but it will not get cancelled once the phase ends. Or maybe it will not get activated at all because the subsystem tries to cast it to the game phase ability first. But anyways, so I'll call it GA underscore, or maybe I can call it like GPA, game phase ability underscore. I'll call this one pre-game, and then I'll create another one called playing, and then I'll create another one called post game. So we have three abilities: the pre-game, post-game, and the playing. And now we need to set these abilities up. I'll go to the pre-game one. I'll go to this defaults, game phase, and we need to assign a game phase tag to it. So I'll create 3 new gameplay tags. It's easier to just go to this manage gameplay tags window and add a new tag. I'll call it game phase dot pre-game. I'll select the default gameplay tags, add new tag. Then I'll add a sub tag called playing and another sub tag called post game. Now we have the tags, so we need to assign these tags to the game phase tag here. So this one is the pre-game one, so I can assign the pre-game tag to this one. I can compile, save, I can go to the post game. I can do a game phase, post game, compile, save, and then the last one is the playing. I will assign playing to this one. Now we need to call those phases, the ones that we created. So for now, I will just simply do an print string, and this is the pre-game phase. So I'll write pre-game started. I'll copy this. Here it will say pre-game ended. Now I'll copy these two to the post or the playing phase, open full blueprint, started, ended, and I'll just replace this with playing, this as well with playing, and then in the post game as well, we can paste these two. It will be called post game. Now let's try to run these phases. I will go here in the Lyra Game Phase Subsystem. I'll write start phase. I'll start the pre-game first. I don't need this. I will start the playing phase. Or you don't need to do that here. I think if you're trying to create a flow, then the pre-game phase can be started from here, and then all the other phases will be dependent on when the pre-game phase ends. So maybe on the pre-game phase, I can go here after a delay, maybe a delay of 5 seconds, or maybe 3 seconds would be faster. I'll copy the game phase start again, and I'll paste it in the pregame. So after getting into the pregame phase, it will wait for 3 seconds, and then it will start the playing phase. And then I can do the same in the playing phase as well. So after waiting for 3 seconds in the playing phase, it will start the post game phase. So we can test now. Pre-game started, playing started, and the pre-game ended. And then post-game started, playing ended. So our phase subsystem is working now. That's the basic setup of the phase subsystem, but there is some interesting things that you can do with it. For example, I can show you a quick example as well, yeah. So I will select some of the objects from the world, maybe these two, or these four. I'll search for tags. I will add the pre-game tag to these, and then I will also select these ones, all the entire platform. And I'll assign a new tag called post game to it. So what I want to do is during the pre-game phase, everything should be here. And then as soon as the pre-game phase ends, I need to remove these 4 cylinders. And then when the playing phase ends and we enter the post-game phase, I also want to remove this big platform so I can do it using the game phase subsystem. So in the pre-game phase, after or before we move to the playing phase, I want to do some, or maybe after we move to the playing phase, in the end ability of the pre-game phase, we can do something. So in the end ability of the pre-game phase, when the pre-game phase ends, I can get all actors of class or get all actors with tag. That would be easier in our case. And I have the cylinders with the pre-game tag. And I'll simply call destroy. Simply call get destroy actor, and then just connect the entire array to it. This will destroy all the actors tagged with pregame when the pregame ends. And then when the postgame starts, I also want to do something, destroy the other actors. So I will copy this code from here, and during the postgame, I will call the same code with postgame tag so that only the postgame actors will be destroyed. And now we can try that again. See, we are not in the pregame now. The pregame ends, all the 4 cylinders disappear. And when the postgame enters, when it enters the postgame, all the other actors disappear. I forgot to add this one to the list, but yeah, you can see what you can basically do with the game phase subsystem. Now there is one other interesting thing about the game phase subsystem is that it depends on the hierarchy of the tags. So for example, you have the pre-game phase and the end ability. So normally every time a new phase starts, the previous one ends, but it doesn't like normally end. It only ends its own sibling phases. And what I mean by sibling phases is if you go to the gameplay tags, these 3 phases, the playing, the post-game, and the pre-game, they are under the same hierarchy, that is under the same parent called game phase. So these 3 are sibling phases. So whenever you start the post-game phase, the pre-game will end, or the playing will also end. So any phases in the same hierarchy will all end. So when I enter the post-game phase, or when I enter the pre-game phase, all the others will end. But since the pre-game starts at the beginning, there's no other phases. But as soon as I enter the playing phase, the pre-game automatically ends, and then as soon as I enter the post-game, the playing automatically ends. But if the tags are not under the same hierarchy, it will not end. So for example, I have a sub-tag under the pre-game phase called pre-game maybe 1. That is the initial pre-game. And then we have the pre-game 2 as well. Oh, I cannot add a sub-tag here. Pre-game 2. So for example, if we have 2 pre-games, then let's try that and see what happens. I will keep the pre-game code just how it is. I will not change it. I'll compile it complete, and then I will create 2 more phases. Pre-game 1 and also pre-game 2. Now in the pre-game 1, I will write pre-game 1 started. I will delete I'll not delete it yet, and then in here I can write pre-game 1 ended, and then in our I can do the same with the pre-game 2 as well. Pre-game 2 started, and then pre-game 2 ended. I'll color them a bit differently so they're easily visible. I'll copy the color and paste it here as well. And I'll paste these colors in the other phase as well. I'll also increase the duration to 5 seconds for all the nodes, just so we don't miss them. Not 25. Now I need to go to my game state. I need to make sure I have added the correct text. I haven't, so I will change these to pregame 1, copy, paste, and change it to pregame 2. Now let's see what happens. Alright, so get back to our game state, and we need to change the flow of the game a little bit. So what we are going to do is start the pregame here, and then the pregame phase. We'll wait for 2 seconds, and then it will start the pregame 1 phase. And I will keep this destroying all actors on the pregame ended as it is. It will start the pregame 1 phase after 2 seconds, and then the pregame 1 phase, I don't need to destroy the actors here. The pregame 1 phase will also wait for 2 seconds, and then it will start the pregame 2 phase. I think it's already pregame 2, yeah. And then in the pregame 2 phase, I will wait for 3 seconds and then transition to the playing phase. I don't need to destroy the actors here. Just let's see what happens if we do it like this. So I'll go through it again. The begin play starts the pregame phase, that's the without the 1 or 2. Then the pregame phase starts the pregame 1 phase with a 2-second delay. And then pregame 1 phase starts the pregame 2 phase with a 2 seconds delay. And then the pregame 2 phase waits for 3 seconds and then starts the playing phase. And the destruction of the 4 cylinders happen when the pregame without 1 or 2 ends. So it doesn't matter if pregame 1 ends or pregame 2 ends. When the pregame without 1 or 2 ends, the destruction of actors occur. So now if I start play, pregame started, 2 seconds, pregame 1 started, pregame 1 ended, pregame 2 started, pregame 2 ended, playing started. But you can see here that the 4 cylinders never disappeared. Right, so we have a small bug in our GPA pregame, and that is that we have not set the tag correctly. It should not be game phase, it should be game phase dot pregame. Now if we compile it and try again and see what happens. Pregame started, pregame 1 started, but the pregame is still going on. Pregame 2 started, and then when the pregame 2 ends, then the pregame also ends, and the cylinders disappear. So let's see it again. Pregame start, pregame 1 start, pregame 1 end, pregame 2 start, pregame 2 end, and then pregame as well end. So you can see that the pregame starts, then the pregame 1 starts, but the pregame still goes on. And then when the pregame 2 starts, the pregame 1 ends because pregame 1 and pregame 2 are under the same hierarchy. They are sibling tags. So the pregame 1 and the pregame 2 cannot run together. So when the pregame 2 starts, the pregame 1 ends, but the pregame still goes on because it's a parent tag. It's not in the same hierarchy. But as soon as the playing starts from here, then the pregame ends because the playing and the pregame are under the same hierarchy. So this is also this can also create some kind of interesting game flows if you want. So it was all about how you can use the Lyra's Game Phase Subsystem into your own projects. I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.